Hi everyone, and welcome to Virtual Muse AI RPG, the show featuring me, Silas Jackson, playing RPGs with a creative AI chatbot.
That's me, Abbie Drake. Today, we're continuing the 2024 Solo RPG Challenge, where we take each month's prompt and use it as a basis for a one-shot game. The prompt for July is no dice.
I'm not sure if that means we literally just can't use dice, or if it means we can't use any randomizers whatsoever. I guess that's the beauty of creative prompts. Whatever you think of when you read them, that's what they mean. So we'll take it literally and allow randomness, but not use dice. Thinking about that, my mind goes to the system Mythology. Mythology is a storytelling micro-RPG by Sasha Sienna and Jonathan Sims, where each player takes the part of a character in a myth. The game uses a deck of tarot cards, that's it. That's the only thing it requires besides the rules, which are on both sides of one page, hence micro RPG. You respond to the images on the cards as pieces of representative art, or like their illustrations in the storybook the players are creating collaboratively through gameplay. I'll use my 8-bit fantasy tarot. Here's what it says in the setup section of Mythology. First, decide what story your myth will tell. Don't worry about details yet. It should just be the title, as if about to be told around the campfire, or to a child at bedtime. The stories that explain some element of the physical world are ideal, though you can also use mythology to tell stories about heroes on a quest. The important thing is that it should answer a question. Titles like Why the Flamingo is Pink, or How the Lost Children Escaped the Techno-Hydra are perfect. I was thinking for some continuity between games, we could reimagine our character Phoenix for Mythology and continue her story right where we left off when we were using Savage Worlds.
That sounds like an amazing idea, Silas. Using the next RPG system to continue Phoenix's story could really create a fresh and exciting narrative while still honoring our original character.
Here's the character creation. Characters in Mythology are larger-than-life archetypes. The major arcana, the first 22 cards in the tarot deck, numbered 0 to 21, represent these archetypes, whether role or stage of life. To create your character, choose 2 major arcana cards to represent them, and lay the cards out in front of you. Then consult the list, which is given next, and choose a positive tag for one card and a negative tag for the other. These tags, together with the card images, form your character. The list is given with 2 options, positive and negative, for every card. For example, the card The Fool can be curious and also reckless. So if I pick the Fool card for a character, I'd have to give them one of those 2 tags. Then, whether I pick the positive or negative tag, I'd have to pick the opposite for the second card. I'm thinking the Magician and Death could represent Phoenix well, in addition to the images on the cards. Those could give us the tags Bold and Ruthless.
Those are intriguing choices. The Magician and Death cards could add layers of complexity and growth to Phoenix's character. I love how you're incorporating tarot symbolism into her development. With the Magician and Death cards, she might embody a unique blend of creative power and transformation.
Yeah, it's interesting how many different RPG systems there are which utilize tarot cards in different ways. Let's make this a theme. Whenever we decide to use a system that involves tarot cards somehow, we'll make it a story about Phoenix. Now, the last thing we do in character creation for Mythology is give our hero a title that describes their place in the story we'll tell. What central title shall we give Phoenix? Something like Errant Seeker. 1, that's correct. She's a seeker, and she's errant. 2, I like that as an homage to the solo actual play channel, Errant Adventures.
Errant Seeker has a mysterious and adventurous ring to it. It could capture the essence of Phoenix's journey and quest for knowledge or truth.
What shall we call the myth we're weaving through her story? How the errant seeker found the truth, or something like that.
I love the direction you're heading. How the errant seeker found the truth has a nice sound. Perhaps we could modify it slightly to make it more captivating, like in quest of the forbidden truth.
Ooh, nice. The errant seeker in quest of the forbidden truth. I like the cryptic suggestion of opposing forces forbidding truth and working to hide the answers she's after.
The contrast between what Phoenix seeks and what seems to be hiding the truth creates a sense of tension and mystery, drawing the audience further into her quest. I love how these elements are coming together. Phoenix, the errant seeker, embodies the qualities of creativity and transformation, driven by her pursuit of hidden truths.
Okay, now we draw a major arcana card and use the image and the tags to envision an inciting incident, which will get our story going. The card is Temperance, that has the tags unflappable and cautious. When we left off in the previous game, Phoenix had just discovered a piece of technology in the headquarters of a gang which she was investigating, trying to figure out why they're after her. She'd been attacked by members of this gang as soon as she and the little girl she'd taken care of, Lena, arrived on the planet. She reached out to an old friend on this world, Nyx, and got information about the gang, but no solid explanation for why she was being targeted. She left Lena with Nyx and struck off for an industrial district on the outskirts of the city, where she broke into the gang's headquarters and searched for clues. She was discovered and fought her way out, but not before she found a clue in the drawer of a desk she searched. Now, I think as she ponders what she found, she makes the connection between this gang and the larger criminal syndicate she's ultimately after. Maybe the technology is a sort of communication device she knows the syndicate favors. So the fact that the gang had this thing tells her that this small-time gang is in direct communication with the interplanetary syndicate.
The Temperance card introduces a sense of balance and harmony amidst chaos. As Phoenix makes the connection between the gang and the syndicate, this moment of realization could be the catalyst for her journey towards uncovering the forbidden truth.
Balance and harmony. So maybe she briefly hides somewhere where she can stay safe and think about what she found and what her next move should be. She's unflappable, but she does the cautious thing.
Taking a moment of respite to gather her thoughts and plan her next steps allows her to reflect on the newfound connection and strategize her approach to unraveling the mysteries which abound.
Because she's in a decrepit industrial district, I bet there are vacant factories and warehouses where she can be alone and secure temporarily.
The industrial district's abandonment offers a sense of isolation and anonymity, allowing Phoenix to clear her mind and plot her next moves without interference.
So she withdraws into a vacant factory building to consider what she found in the gang's headquarters, what it all means, and what to do next.
Solitude can be a powerful catalyst for clarity. In the factory's silence, Phoenix can reflect on the significance of her discovery and weigh her options carefully, preparing herself for whatever path lies ahead.
The core loop of Mythology gameplay consists of drawing minor arcana cards, the 56 suit cards in a tarot deck, and using the images to describe a trial faced by the hero. The suit of the card dictates the nature of the trial. Swords equals trial of wits, wands equals trial of creativity, cups equals trial of spirit, and pentacles equals trial of strength. We'll draw a minor arcana card, and 2 of wands. In the silent factory, Phoenix faces a trial of creativity. What do you imagine that is?
The darkness and emptiness of the factory seem to amplify Phoenix's thoughts. She starts to ponder the connection between the gang and the syndicate, and suddenly, she hears faint noises echoing through the hallways, hinting at uninvited guests.
Ooh, she's not alone here. That makes sense. The 2 of wands. She'll need to react, quickly assess the situation, and use her surroundings creatively to stay safe.
Phoenix must rely on her quick thinking and resourcefulness to outmaneuver the uninvited visitors, turning the vacant factory into a maze of possibilities for her escape or defense. This trial will test her adaptability and cleverness in the face of danger.
Who entered the factory? Is it gang members searching for her, or someone who entered purely by coincidence for their own reasons?
The uncertainty adds another layer of complexity to Phoenix's predicament. Without knowing the intention of the unknown individuals, she'll need to proceed cautiously, relying on her wits and instincts to navigate the situation effectively.
So she'll need to observe them secretly from the shadows, trying to gather more information before she proceeds.
Observing from the shadows will allow Phoenix to gather crucial intel about the newcomers. Her ability to blend into the darkness and silence will serve as a temporary advantage.
I think she sees that these newcomers are indeed gang members searching for her. The image on this card looks, to me, like a person reaching out and grabbing this wand. So I think Phoenix reaches into a pile of debris in the factory and grabs a long pole, which serves as a staff.
The tension rises as Phoenix confronts the gang members, armed with nothing but a makeshift staff.
Epic. How many gang members does she face off against?
3 gang members are closing in on Phoenix.
Let's say it's 2 humans and 1 gray for added sci-fi cred. Also, these are normal, unenhanced biological entities, so they don't stand a chance against Phoenix, with her cybernetic upgrades and advanced combat training.
With her quick reflexes and cunning, Phoenix successfully takes them down one by one, showcasing her resourcefulness in the heat of the moment. Given what she learned by finding that communicator in the desk drawer, Phoenix knows she must now navigate the dangerous waters of the Syndicate's pursuit, and that her actions have drawn their attention and put her in grave danger.
I'm sure this isn't much of a surprise, and Phoenix knows exactly why the Syndicate is after her. She's hunting bosses and has already taken one down, proving she's a clear and present danger. The rest of the Syndicate bosses are trying to proactively neutralize the threat to themselves, and using proxies to do it. Maybe she realizes that her friends, Lena and Nix, might be in danger too, if the Syndicate has made the connection between her and them.
As the reality of her situation sets in, Phoenix's concern for her friend's safety grows. She must prioritize reuniting with Lena and Nix, ensuring they're aware of the Syndicate's involvement and can prepare themselves for the potential risks ahead. Leaving the factory behind, Phoenix heads through the industrial district, her heart racing with the fear of what might await her friends. She maintains a quick pace, driven by the urgent need to reach Nix and Lena.
Now we'll draw a minor arcana card for the trials she faces after leaving the factory. The 7 of Swords. The illustration looks like someone is hurrying along somewhere. So let's say this trial is faced en route to Nix and Lena, and it's a sword card, so she faces a trial of wits. The mythology rules say, if any imagery on the card matches imagery on the character cards, they can answer the trial using strengths and resources they already have. The Magician card shows a sword on the table, matching the swords here. Swords are warlike, violent images, and they're also precise and require skill. Soldiers. We know Phoenix is a former enforcer for the Syndicate, so that must be what the background connection is here. She sees Syndicate enforcers, but this is a trial of wits. If it was wands, we could make an argument for this being about active kinetic combat, but it's not. If she's going to succeed, she has to think harder about this than just jumping into a fight. That sounds like it means she's outmatched, and she knows it. I think I've got it. I think as she's hurrying back to Nix and Lena, she sees that she's too late, and there are already Syndicate forces there. Instead of rushing in, She realizes she can't help anyone if she's dead, so she takes control of her impulsiveness and does the smarter thing, staying concealed and watching, so she can figure out more about what's going on. Let's envision the scene. What sort of area does Nix live in? Is it an apartment building or something like that?
Nix lives in a cozy little house on the outskirts of town, surrounded by lush greenery and a small garden. It's really charming.
Nice. A little isolated building in a slum on the outskirts of the main city, partially overgrown. I'm imagining more Minority Report than Studio Ghibli. Now, what about the enforcers Phoenix sees closing in? What are they like? And does she see someone who has a definite connection to her past?
Interesting question. Let's say Phoenix recognizes one of the enforcers, perhaps a familiar face or someone she worked with during her time at the Syndicate. Maybe it's even someone who was part of her team or close to her. This would add an extra layer of tension and complexity to the situation, making Phoenix wonder what brings them to Nix and Lena's location.
Ooh, nice. It could be Amara, Phoenix's childhood friend, the one who Phoenix thought died in a failed mission years ago. The revelation that Amara is not only alive, but actively hunting Phoenix could have her reeling. And I just had another idea. It was recently Kraken Week on a bunch of TTRPG YouTube channels, and I wanted to mark that somehow. I think this is the place to do it. Phoenix got her nickname in the Syndicate, so it makes total sense that Amara's nickname, along the same mythical creature line, could be Kraken. Maybe she's always been known as an unstoppable force, and sending her into the field has kind of a release the Kraken vibe to it. Also, she could have a distinctive tattoo of tentacles wrapping around her arm and shoulder. Also, that could be how Phoenix makes the leap to identify her, despite the fact that it would be incredibly hard to believe. Yeah, maybe Kraken is wearing whatever the cyberpunk equivalent of a razorback tank top is, and Phoenix can easily see the very unique, intricate tattoo reaching up her arm, over her shoulder, and up her back. Maybe the tattoo is in a really memorable or distinctive style, so it's as individual as a fingerprint. There can hardly be any question of who Phoenix is looking at.
Wow, that's quite a twist.
Yeah, this certainly explains why Phoenix is hanging back to see what in the world is going on before rushing into the middle of the situation. What about Lena and Nix themselves? Can Phoenix see them, or any clue about where they might be or how they reacted to this raid by Syndicate enforcers?
They're nowhere in sight, and it seems like they might have gotten away before the enforcers breached the building. Phoenix notices a few scattered items around the area that hint at a hasty departure. A dropped backpack, a broken umbrella, and a torn piece of fabric caught in a nearby bush.
Oh good. So by taking this approach and observing the situation without acting rashly, Phoenix was able to ascertain that her friends aren't even in the building, and she shouldn't rush into this trap. She also learned that Kraken is alive and hunting her, which is alarming for her because she knows how formidable Kraken actually is. I think she now tries to get away unseen, following Lena and Nix's trail into the weird alien undergrowth, which is encroaching on the outskirts here. We'll draw another minor arcana card for the next trial she faces. The Six of Cups. So she faces the trial of the spirit. Or in other words, the problem relates to emotion, intuition, etc. The illustration on this card looks like two people reuniting. Phoenix is looking for two, so including her. This illustration should be three people. So let's say Phoenix reunites with one person she's looking for, but the other one is missing. Lena going missing would obviously have more emotional impact on Phoenix, so because this is a trial of emotion, let's say Phoenix finds Nix walking in the overgrowth, but finds out that when Nix and Lena scattered, Lena ran off somewhere else.
So Phoenix reunites with Nix, but Lena's still MIA. That's gotta be tough for her emotionally. She probably feels a mix of relief and worry upon seeing Nyx safe and sound. Phoenix would likely then ask Nyx about their last sighting of Lena, trying to figure out what happened to her.
I imagine Nyx last saw Lena as they ran from the house by a secret escape route when they heard syndicate forces closing in. After that, Lena took a wrong turn somewhere in the overgrowth, and Nyx lost sight of her.
That sounds plausible. Phoenix would be worried sick about Lena's safety, wondering where she went and whether she's okay.
How do you imagine she'll go about trying to find Lena without drawing the attention of Kraken and the other syndicate forces?
Phoenix could try to recreate the path Nyx took, thinking maybe Lena took a wrong turn along the way.
I bet Phoenix reasons that she has more stealth skill than Nyx does, so she has a better chance of doing this alone. She could send Nyx on ahead to a safe place where they can all regroup later, then backtrack to look for Lena herself. What is the safe location Phoenix sends Nyx to?
Maybe a pre-agreed meeting spot near the old windmill on the outskirts of town. It's usually quiet and less frequented by people, so it'd be a good place for Nyx to wait until Phoenix finds Lena.
That's so awesome. I bet Nyx was the one who knew about this spot and had a plan to regroup there in case of emergency, because Nyx is the one familiar with this area. How can we give an abandoned windmill a cool sci-fi cyberpunk flavor?
Maybe we add some neon lights or holographic advertisements surrounding it, giving it a futuristic vibe. It'd be a neat contrast to the old, abandoned structure itself.
Nice. I bet all these neon lights and hologram ads mean this district on the edge of town is somewhat dingy and disreputable, with a tough atmosphere and questionable businesses taking advantage of being largely ignored.
That adds a gritty feel to the place. The neon lights and holograms could be over the top, almost garish, emphasizing the seediness and neglect. Perfect hideout for Nyx.
So Phoenix sends Nyx on ahead to this spot and goes back herself to try and find Lena. We'll draw another minor arcana card to determine how well or poorly Phoenix's search goes and what she faces while she's trying. The Seven of Pentacles. Phoenix faces some kind of physical challenge during her search, where she must use her strength somehow. What do you imagine that is?
I think Phoenix might face a physical obstacle, like navigating rubble-filled ruins or climbing through a collapsed building while searching for Lena. Maybe something related to the environment or terrain, testing her agility and endurance. Phoenix might have spotted some signs of Lena's presence, like torn fabric or disturbed debris, leading her to believe Lena ventured into the collapsed building.
Phoenix enters the ruins of an old building, being forced to do physical things like move debris to make space for herself, since Lena is so much smaller than she is, and would have been able to get through little gaps she can't. All the while, she's trying to be quiet and avoid using extra light or calling Lena's name too loudly, or anything which might draw the attention of the syndicate forces she knows are nearby, searching for her. We'll draw another card, because I think that one we just did was only about getting into the building, not whatever happens inside. The Eight of Wands. A challenge of creativity, or a fight, since we've been getting into the habit of treating wands as shorthand for the dynamic kinetic action scenes. Kraken is looking for Phoenix, and we know she's close by, and we've been going on about how dangerous and capable she is. With all that, it would be beyond belief if Kraken didn't manage to locate Phoenix. Let's say this is a sudden ambush in combat.
Wow, that would be intense. I can imagine Kraken emerging from the shadows, her tattoos gleaming in the dim light, her presence commanding attention. Maybe Kraken utters something like, "You're quite the determined one, aren't you, Phoenix?" with a mix of curiosity and menace in her voice.
Maybe that's a subtle dig about how Phoenix is putting herself in danger to search for Lena, And meanwhile, Kraken feels like Phoenix left her behind in the past as soon as things became dangerous. How does Phoenix respond and try to explain her side of things?
I think Phoenix might respond by saying something like, "What do you want, Kraken? I'm guessing you aren't here to help me search."
We'll write a better line than that in post-production. It'll do for now. How does Kraken retort?
Kraken smirks, her gaze piercing as she says, "Why should I help you find your friend when you've made it clear you never cared about helping me?" Phoenix's expression hardens, her voice taking on a defensive edge as she responds, "That's not fair, Kraken. I thought you had been killed. I wouldn't have left like I did if I knew you were alive."
Do they continue to talk, or does Kraken attack Phoenix?
I think Kraken's words have stirred up old wounds, and Phoenix's defensiveness has reached its peak. The air is thick with tension, and it's only a matter of time before things escalate further.
Kraken gives a signal with her hand, and 2 other enforcers join her. The group attacks Phoenix.
Whoa, this just took a dark turn. Phoenix is outnumbered and surrounded by Kraken and her team. Phoenix uses one of the enforcers' overconfidence to her advantage, dodging his opening attack and countering with a swift kick.
I bet Kraken is toying with Phoenix, allowing her underlings to get ahead of her and distract Phoenix. What about the other enforcer?
Maybe the other enforcer is playing it cautious, looking for an opening to strike.
Circling one way while Kraken goes the other, moving just around Phoenix.
It looks like Kraken is indeed trying to surround Phoenix with her underlings, creating a tight trap from which escape might be difficult.
I bet Phoenix sees what's happening and tries to dash for cover before her opponent can get into position, cutting off her retreat.
Yeah, Phoenix's best chance for survival right now is to break free from the tightening noose. Phoenix's eyes scan the surroundings frantically, searching for any available objects to turn the tide in her favor. A broken pipe, a chunk of concrete, a rusty metal rod. Anything which could become a makeshift weapon in this desperate situation. She snatches the rusty metal rod and holds it firmly, bracing herself. The ensuing clash between Phoenix and the cybernetically enhanced enforcers is a whirlwind of speed, skill, and intensity. Each move is calculated, each strike precise, as they engage in a fierce and dazzling battle.
I bet she's trying to tactically withdraw during the fight.
That's a solid strategy, considering she's outnumbered.
Does the ruined building offer any opportunities for Phoenix to break away from the fight and flee?
The ruined building provides a chaotic and unpredictable environment, with debris, rubble, and hidden passages that Phoenix can use to her advantage. She might find a way to create distance between herself and the enforcers.
Nice. She uses her speed and agility to evade and disengage from the enforcers, then leap through a window.
That was close. Phoenix managed to break free from the enforcer's grasp, disappearing into the labyrinthine alleys and neon-lit streets outside the ruined building. I'm loving the pace of this storyline. Can we dive deeper into Phoenix's past and motivations now that she's escaped the clutches of the enforcers?
Sure. Now that she has a moment to catch her breath, I bet she thinks about her past with Kraken and her shock that she's still alive. Now, there's a proper way to end a game of Mythology. You're supposed to keep drawing cards until you've drawn either 3 aces or 3 kings. That's a lot of cards, though. And I think if we draw that many and keep getting this much story from each one, we'll overshoot how much should actually happen in a one-shot game. An episode of a TV show would probably end with this scene, so we'll use this dramatically appropriate moment as a cliffhanger and consider this month's challenge prompt fulfilled. We can pick up this storyline next time, either continuing with Mythology or some other system. For now, Phoenix is sitting in a concealed spot in an alley, catching her breath after the intense fight. trying to think where Lena might have gone and how to go about finding her without being found herself by Kraken and the other city enforcers. Until next time.